Hello and welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Omotayo Alo. Former head of state Yakub Gowon has pleaded with Nigerians to give President Muhammad Buhari more time to fix the country's problems. Gowon, who noted that governance is never an easy affair, added that Nigeria is not an easy place to govern, hence the property of giving any new government time to put things first in order. The former leader spoke to journalists at the Kenya home of the late chief Obafemi Awolowo shortly after leading a delegation of the Awolowo Foundation to condole with the family on the death of Anna Idowu Awolowo last month. Going further, Gowon says when you have problems in the nation, it is not easy to fix them overnight. He called for patience on the part of Nigerians for their leaders to be able to put things in order. Sultan of Sokoto Sahat Abubakar says unless Nigerians totally embrace the principles and respect for the rule of law, the country cannot make landmark progress as a nation. He added that any society which jettisons the culture and respect for law will continue to be doomed. The Sultan, who spoke at the opening of the 8th Annual National Conference of the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, Mulan, pointed out that any society without respect for the rule of law, justice, equity, fairness, and equality will fail in all its pursuits. Abubakar further challenged the association to strive to be financially independent, publicize its activities, and also voice its views on some current national issues. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Thursday presided over the National Economic Council meeting with state governors and other members of the council. The closed-door meeting focused on bailouts for state, refund of money spent by state government on federal roads, and an update on the investigation into the excess crude account under the last administration. No fewer than 30 state governors were at the meeting, alongside a handful of deputy governors. Basiaye has all the details.
One of the issues discussed at the NEC meeting, which commenced at about 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, is that of bailout funds solicited by 27 state governors. Briefing State House correspondents at the end of the meeting, the governors explained that efforts are being intensified to ensure speedy allocation of the funds by the Central Bank of Nigeria. They shed more light on the bailout process.
It's not straightforward. The money comes, there's a verification process to be done. The ICPC is sending a team to intervene. Guidelines and modality were prescribed on a way and manner this money will be disbursed. So some states are just beginning to receive the money, and they need to get through all of this procedure before they can release. But I want to assure you that for any state that has received salary-based bailout, the money is specific to salaries, and it's not going to be moved either for servicing of any other business or in form of any infrastructure project.
The issue of the bailout is not the final solution to the issue of this perpetual shortfall in Accra vis-a-vis salaries. But there's no question about the fact that it has helped the state. For example, in Ondo State, everything we received, we have paid everything, we have pushed it into our economy, and I think it is a very welcome development.
They also say about 2.25 billion naira is currently in the excess crude account. The issue of flooding was discussed, where federal government's resolve to address the issue was restated.
A lot of efforts have been done with most states, and the Vice President has also asked us that those states that have not written to the federal government, they should compile their report and submit it. But some have done it, most states have done it.
As much as the state governments that are affected are concerned about the plight of the people that are affected by the flood, the federal government too is very much concerned. And by way of some temporary kind of interventions, even last week, the DG of NEMA was in Sokoto on behalf of the federal government and delivered certain relief materials to the affected victims. I took him around some of the communities that were displaced, and we, in Sokoto State, we are reviewing and assessing the situation. We are relocating some of the communities that have been suffering from these flood disasters over the years, over decades. were completely relocating some of these communities. And I'm sure when it's time, the federal government will also intervene in supporting the state.
The meeting had no fewer than 30 state governors in attendance, with a handful of deputy governors. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Kaduna State Governorship Election Tribunal on Thursday upheld the election of Governor Nasir El-Rufai of the All Progressives Congress. It dismissed the petition filed by the All Progressive Grand Alliance candidate Polycarp Danladi on the grounds that it lacked merit. Delivering the judgment, which lasted more than 7 hours, the tribunal chairman, Justice Adebayo Adebara, said the counsel to the petitioner failed to prove his case. The National and State Assembly Elections Petitions Tribunal in Taraba has nullified the election of former acting governor of the state, Sani Danladi, as senator. The decision was based on a petition filed by Sani Kone of the All Progressive Congress. The tribunal also ordered the Independent National Election Commission to set aside the certificate of return handed to the former acting governor. Udwa Godwin now provides all the details from Jalingo.
Sani Abubakar Danladi was declared by the first respondent in the case, INEC, as the winner of the March 28 senatorial polls in Taraba North senatorial zone. But this didn't go down well with the APC candidate, Sani Ali Kona, who approached the tribunal demanding that the election be nullified. According to him, the polls conducted in 54 polling units were characterized by substantial irregularities. The tribunal affirmed that there were no valid votes and therefore declared the elections inconclusive. Counsel to Sani Abubakar Danladi said the tribunal took the decision based on evidence before it.
This is not the last court. If they want to appeal, they have the right of appeal. The Court of Appeal is the next court, but the choice as to whether they want to appeal or not is our client's choice. It's not ours as legal practitioners. Ours is to get the judgments and then advise our clients as to their rights. I must say that we cannot cast aspersion on the tribunal. For us, that is the way they saw it.
For his part, the APC candidate, through his counsel, held the tribunal for the judgment.
You see, the essence of democracy is to give people an opportunity to elect their leaders. The basis of the complaint in the petition was that in 54 polling units in 3 local government areas in the North Senatorial District, the elections in the polling units were not properly conducted on the basis that there was no accreditation before people were allowed to vote. So the election conducted in those 54 polling units were unknown to law.
The tribunal has directed INEC to conduct a fresh election within 90 days on the grounds of non-compliance with the Electoral Act. Udwa Godwin, CoreTV News, Jalingo.
Back with more stories after the break.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome. If you're just joining us, it's CoreTV News at 4. For more of our news and information, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. You could get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, live a space and news. The National President, National Union of Textile, Garment and Tailoring Workers of Nigeria, Oladile Unsu, says any state that is still owing workers despite the financial intervention of the federal government is evil and should be condemned by all well-meaning Nigerians. The Labour leader made this known while speaking to newsmen in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital.
Speaking on the issue of salaries, he noted that some state governors have access to the funds from the federal government as part of the bailout after failing to meet their statutory responsibilities and still fail to pay despite the bailout. For him, this failure to pay is not only devilish but criminal.
No, see, that is unacceptable. It's very unacceptable because the contractual agreement between the employer and the employee is that the employee works for you, the employers pay. The employees have fulfilled their part of the bargain by working. So government have no excuse not to pay. So it is criminal, it is illegal, it is unacceptable. So we want to call on all governors that are still owing workers to pay forthwith without further delay. And we equally heard that the bailout fund that was given to the governor is being diverted. Any governor that is in the habit of diverting bailout fund that is meant for worker salary will not be spared. I want to say this, I'm from the position of a worker and a leader of the working people. So for me, governments have no right.
Speaking in the same vein, former chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress Kwara State chapter, Emmanuel Ayoribe, also condemned the act, adding that the NLC is ready to take up the battle with all erring state governors. He assured workers that salaries will be paid soon.
I think that is a very bad precedent. Now that the president has given them a bailout, I think it will be very, very unfair. I think it will be very, very unfair on the part of any governor to continue to owe, realizing that even the peanut that they are paying is not enough in the first instance to take us anywhere. And so when you are denying people their rightful privilege, what we say some people who are doing and who are criticizing, I don't think they should inherit it. And I think Nigeria Labour Congress has spoken in a very clear term that we are going to react, and we are going to react very big.
On the state of the nation, Oladile Hunsu says he is positive that the present government at the federal level will move the nation forward.
So far so good. He has said it is easy, it is better to take things easy than to be in a hurry. All the steps he has taken so far, I think it is commendable for whatever anybody wants to say, because he inherits a near comatose country, and for you to revive it, it will be an Herculean tax. But so far so good. Of course, he's making the right step. He's taking the right step in the right direction. All we need to do is to give him all the necessary support to be able to succeed.
Now that the ministers are gradually becoming known, Nigerians wait for a fulfillment of the various campaign promises of President Buhari and the All Progressives Congress. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
The leadership of the People's Democratic Party says it has recovered from the shock occasioned by its loss of power at the center in the last general election. Speaking after its National Executive Committee meeting, the acting national chairman of the PDP, Uche Secondus, who presided over the meeting, says the loss afforded the party to do some soul-searching. According to him, the first step pursuant to soul-searching was the resignation of Adamu Mohazu and Tony Aneni as national chairman and chairman of the Board of Trustees, respectively. Secondus called for the attention of all Nigerians to what the party described as selective implementation of the ongoing anti-corruption fund, saying members of the party have been singled out for persecution. Also speaking at the event, Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko, however, the PDP liberalized the democratic space in the 16 years it held power at the center. The Taraba State House of Assembly has confirmed 20 persons for the position of commissioners in the state. The lawmakers arrived at this resolution after the screening of the nominees. Udwa Godwin gives us details.
I should be appointed as a commissioner for information. My only case is to advise the government on the importance of information dissemination and the outreach to our authority. Apart from that, again, I think I will also advise the government to know the importance of information dissemination again, also to ask them to
unfortunately, we never carried out any activity that even involved any agro dealer during my own tenure. As an educationist, a seasonal school administrator, first and foremost, I want to inform this honorable house that education is one of the largest industry we have. And as such, I want to say that in terms of my roles to play, so that we are able to attend to solve some of these educational problems.
The Constitution spells out, number one, the qualification of a commissioner, and all of them qualified. Number two, based on the answers, if you want to go by the answers they all gave us, we are satisfied with the answers, because sometimes you elicit these answers not just for the gallery, it's also to guide you. And besides, we also have an oversight function over them after this. So if a commissioner is lacking, I think during the oversight functions, the honorable members or the committee concerned will raise alarm. But for
Inspector General of Police Solomon Arashi has ordered the arraignment of the suspected kidnappers of the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Olu Falai. They are to be docked before an Ondo magistrate court. Police spokesperson Olabisi Kolawole said in a statement that the IG Arashi said the decision was taken after what she described as discreet investigations into the abduction. She added that the Inspector General commended these men for the quick arrest of the suspect. He was also quoted to assured Nigerians that the police under his leadership will leave no stone unturned at ensuring that all criminals in the country are brought to justice. The Senate has summoned the Controller General of Customs, Ahmed Ali, over his decision to lift the ban on rice importation through the country's land borders. This was on the basis of a motion by Senator Adamo Alero and 30 others who claimed that the decision is capable of affecting local production of rice. The sponsors of the bill had originally wanted the Senate to direct the new custom boss to suspend the move, but several others felt that it would be better to invite him to justify his decision. Pius Samuel reports.
Bring about change.
The motion was co-sponsored by 30 other senators who argued that the importation of rice should only be done through the nation's sea borders. They say if this is done, it will help the federal government to properly monitor the development and collect the necessary import duties. While moving the motion, Senator Aliero pointed out that the Nigerian customs lacked the capacity and machinery to effectively monitor and control rice imports through the country's porous and extensive land borders.
The Senate further notes to intensify efforts at establishing effective and functional ways and means of curbing smuggling of rice through the country's land borders. And thirdly, all importers of rice should bring their cargo through the Nigerian Port Authority, through the Nigerian ports, and clear such cargo after paying appropriate import duty as prescribed in the Nigerian tariff.
He maintained that the step will hamper local production at a time Nigeria was heading towards self-sufficiency in rice production.
The Senate considered that between 2010 and 2015, over 15 new rice mills have been established across the country by private investors and has provided employment to millions of Nigerians, either involved in production of paddy rice or milling of rice.
While debating the motion, some senators urged the Senate to invite the Comptroller General of Customs to explain why the ban was lifted. They argued that the reason might be in national interest, but first, the CG has to justify his decision.
Whether rice is imported through the borders or through the seas,
it is done serious harm, is doing serious harm to our economy. In this era of dwindling revenue, and our government doing everything it can to preserve our foreign reserve, we cannot afford to continue to enrich farmers in Vietnam, in Thailand, in China, in Indonesia, while we continue to impoverish our own.
Everybody knows there is great activity of smuggling of rice through our land borders every day of the week, the month, and the year. So what the controller is just saying is, instead of smuggling, now come through the normal channels and pay.
No date has been fixed for retired Colonel Ali's appearance, but senators urged the customs services and other government agencies to ensure adequate patrol of the land borders to check the activities of smugglers. Pyre Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Batch C Corps members in Ekiti State have also joined their counterpart across the country for the passing out parade with an advice for them to be self-reliant and put into practice the various entrepreneurship skills acquired while in service. Thus, the NYSC leadership will stimulate the country's productivity, while the passing out Corps members will be job creators rather than job seekers. Rashid reports from the Oluyemi Kayode Stadium in Ado-Ekiti.
With joy and fanfare, the 9-month service of the Batch C Corps members has finally come to an end with a passing out parade. The state governor, Ayodele Fayoshi, who was represented by the Commissioner for Information, Lanre Ogunshi, says Ekiti State will always be a Corps member-friendly state, while the state NYSC coordinator harped on the need for the new job seekers to look inwards and develop the skills acquired while in service.
I want them to leverage on the entrepreneurship skills that they have acquired over time, and to let them know that they will forever be friends of Ekiti State.
About 12 skills are being taught at the camp. Various skills, and each Corps member is advised and admonished to take advantage of those skills.
Some of the outgoing Corps members shared their experience and expectation in life after service.
A year in Ekiti State, it's just been good, it's been wonderful, and I'm very, very happy.
I've met great friends like Frank, Fortune, Cielo, Coca. I've met this beautiful girl. She broke my heart, but I'm still good. The side program is helping us too, because living here, we have so many skills, so many different skills, and we should stop looking for what the government will do for us and do something for the government.
With Ekiti State turning out about 3,000 Corps members, the big question is if the Nigerian labor market is ready to absorb these new entrants and government's plan for those among them set to be self-reliant. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Female farmers in Nigeria say fertilizer is still a scarce farming input in many rural areas, despite federal government's promise to make it available and affordable. The women said this at a program organized by a non-governmental organization, Oxfam, to celebrate rural women farmers in the country. They say lack of fertilizer and good market for their agriculture produce are some of the challenges militating against farming at the rural areas. Basilo Kafo has more in this report presented from our studios.
These women here are blazing the trail in an occupation many men are even afraid to venture into. They are Nigerian female farmers who have excelled in their farming business. These two female farmers from Benue State narrated to CoreTV News some of the challenges they had faced while plying their trade in farming.
Women have a lot of challenges in farming because the work of farming have been left to the hand of women and with their children. Mostly the challenges is land. In some of our communities in Nigeria, women do not have access to land. Each time they move from one plot to the other, which is not borrowing to farm, which is not even enough for them. And because when a woman wants to do work, he works very well. When he has a good yield, the owner of the farmer may be jealous and drive him from the farm. Farm is a major problem. We also have a lot of problem of marketing. packaging of processing. If you go to Benue State, most of the crops that women are being farmed are being wasted.
In fact, we have been crying, we have been talking, but we don't know whether the federal government are not hiding us. They didn't hear us or what, we don't know. Maybe they hear us. So what we want the federal government to do to us, they should please help us. If the method they use in disposing fertilizer, since it is not working, they should maybe give the fertilizer through NGOs that they are working with small-scale farmers directly. Maybe if they follow that channel, the fertilizer will reach us. If not, we are tired of this method of taking fertilizer to state, from state to local government, and the fertilizer will disappear.
Their stories are not different from others who lamented government's failure to address the plight of rural farmers.
Access to, that is road, market. We don't, after producing your product, we find it very difficult to even sell. So we don't even have markets. Then another one is access to farm inputs, just like you rightly said, fertilizers and then all of that.
At times when those people buy the cassava, if they have not been able to supply their flour on ground to the bakers and receive money, you see that it is not easy for them to come back to the farm to buy the remaining cassava. So if it's not a cassava that has soil resistance, there is going to be decaying, a rotting. And to us farmer, that may not spell a good thing. So what we quickly do there is to change it into the value chain. Quickly harvest and process into gari so that the cassava will not get spoiled. So the challenge is that we need the government to intervene.
But the organizers of the event say the women have succeeded in their farming business despite the challenges. According to them, this is the reason Oxfam decided to celebrate the women and also to encourage small-scale female farmers in Nigeria.
What we do is we are really into financial inclusion of women, and what this means is to promote community financing. We are promoting community financing where women are pooling their resources together. They're pooling their resources together, and they're taking, loan out of that pool of resources to develop their own, activities. But also that pool of resource can also serve as a collateral for, let's say bigger banks that need collateral because they can, before women can access funding. And that's what we are doing. We are organizing women. We are really into organizing them into cohesive groups, strong groups that are reliable and dependable.
Many analysts have advised governments to take seriously the issue of soft loans to rural farmers.
We will bring you stories from outside Nigeria, sports and entertainment after the break.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome. And on the foreign sim, the UN Secretary Council is set to hold a special meeting to discuss the spate of violence between Israelis and Palestinians, which has killed 39 people in the past 2 weeks. The UN said the meeting, which will hold today, was called at the request of Council member Jordan and will include a briefing from the UN Secretariat on the situation. The UN meeting comes as Israel deploys more troops to the border with Gaza, where the ruling Palestinian group Hamas has called for day of rage demonstrations on Friday. U.S. President Barack Obama has announced plans to extend the United States military roles in Afghanistan and keep the current force of 9,800 troops through most of 2016. It will be recalled that Obama had aimed to withdraw all but a small U.S. embassy-based force in the capital Kabul before leaving office in January 2017. But this was changed as a result of increased Taliban attacks. Senior U.S. administration officials said the decision comes after months of deliberation between Obama, Afghan leaders, Pentagon officials, commanders in the field, and White House advisors about how best to continue to support Afghan forces. A U.S. security expert, Martin Reldon, said the decision was taken to continue to assist and train the Afghan forces, adding that this is the longest war U.S. has ever fought. Meanwhile, Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid told reporters that they will continue their fight against foreign forces until they leave the country. And now in the world of sport, Nigerian international and Watford striker Odion Igalo believes that Saturday's opponent Arsenal could win the Premier League, but are not the favourite for the title as the Gunners are second sandwiched between the Manchester clubs going into the weekend. But the Nigerian thinks they will have to contend with the usual favourites to win their first title in more than a decade. Igalo, who returns from the international break having scored a goal in Nigeria's 3-0 demolition of Cameroon in Brazil on Sunday, says Arsenal can win it. But it's going to be difficult because they have Manchester City. Manchester United and even Chelsea fighting too haven't failed to score against Manchester City during this first encounter with one of the giants of the English game this season. The Nigerian will face Arsenal on Saturday, hoping to reprise the feat of his hero Samuel Eto'o against the Gunners during his brief spell with Chelsea. Eto'o opened scoring in that famous 6-0 demolition of the Gunners at Stamford Bridge in March 2014. Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho will appeal against the English FA in the wake of receiving a stadium ban and a 50,000 naira fine for his comment regarding the officiating in the Blues loss to Sam Alvin, as the former Real Madrid and Inter man was punished for suggesting referees were reluctant to give penalties for his current club. Speaking on Friday ahead of the clash against Aston Villa, Mourinho assured he would fight the ban, and he would also admit that his character could make it difficult to one day manage the England national team under FA control, and also he said that he would work for the people, not the FA. Chelsea has endured an indifferent start to the 2015-2016 Premier League, jeopardizing their chances of retaining the title, and Mourinho recognized that perhaps a visit to Stamford Bridge was not an intimidating one for older teams as in previous years, and says one thing is to go to a stadium where the percentage of defeat is huge for the away team, and in another way there are teams that goes and they have only won in 4, he affirmed. The Football Association of England has suspended its support for Michel Platini's candidacy for the FIFA presidency as the move follows a UEFA meeting on Thursday where FA officials were given further information surrounding a 1.35 million payment to Platini in 2011 from FIFA. From FIFA President Blatter, which has led to both men being provisionally banned pending an ethics committee hearing. An FA statement said at the UEFA meeting that FA learned more information relating to the issues at the center of the case from Platini's lawyer and have been instructed that the information must be kept confidential and therefore must not go into specific areas. The FA said it supported UEFA's statement that Platini, who remains president of the European governing body, had the right to a fair hearing process and for it to be carried out by mid-November. In entertainment, Vin Diesel has been very active in giving updates about the upcoming Fast and Furious 8 after suggesting that F. Gary would direct the 8th installment of the racing movie franchise, and Diesel's hinted that the film would be set in New York. TV host Jimmy Fallon asked Diesel where the next movie would be set. Diesel firmly replied, New York, and he then went on revealing the inspiration for the first movie as something that people don't know is that the first movie came from a Vibe article that was about street races in New York. The director and producer at the time reset the whole movie in LA, But the Vibe article that the whole franchise was started from actually originated in New York, and Diesel will be joined by the likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Ludacris and Charles Gibson, with Jason Statham and Kurt Russell, who are expected to return as Fast and Furious 8 will be released in North America on April 14, 2017. And it's a wrap on CoreTV News at this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. My name is Omotayo Alo.